halftime, really pleased with just played a lot of guys. I think we played 87 players in the game, so the standard doesn't change. I know that sometimes that's coach speak, but that's when you walk in here feeling pretty good. Again, being 1-0 and.
Let's go!
Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins. He's the coach, Philip Roybal. And if you love college football, you're definitely in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. Coach, welcome back to the show. We have a couple guests on today, but big day, week 1 of college football. I know this was your second week of getting to watch your favorite team play. For us Oklahoma fans, what a huge day for the Sooners. 73-0 victory over a team that they needed to beat up on. But when you come through and have a performance like what you saw out of OU, big day, I just felt like it was a big deal. How'd you feel about the day today?
I tell you what, I thought it was a good day. I've got some noise issues going on here.
You sound good to me. You may have. Do you have the one of them open on YouTube? Maybe. Do you have a YouTube stream open? Maybe. You're getting some echo.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and welcome on our guests here. We've got
go ahead.
Bomber Brown from the Big 12 Mafia, and I believe this may be Coach I. Coach, are you with us? Nathan, welcome to the show, sir. Got your BYU Cougars also playing some ball today, but welcome to the show. Week 1 is in effect. Excited to have you on.
No, it's great to be here. And yeah, it's been a great, the leaders have led most of the day. I think most of the teams that we expected to win and blow out teams have done that. Been a few surprises though. You mentioned Colorado. I think that Colorado game was probably the best game I've seen in a long, long time. And
what a football game, right?
Just going to get better, I think. Game.
Yeah. I mean, they were 3 touchdown underdogs playing against a national finalist in TCU on the road in the heat. And they brought the heat. Huge win for Coach Prime and his program. We'll get into some of that as well as we get into some of this. But I gotta take care of my audience here, folks. Welcome to the show. Boomer Sooner, to all you Sooner fans out there, thank you so much for showing up for our stream. Hey, big day for these Sooners. I know this wasn't we didn't play the best team in the country, but Oklahoma did what you expect a superior team to do to a team like that. And so it was a big deal for the Oklahoma Sooners. Wanted to send a shout out to Bishop Frank. Thank you for coming into the show. Hank, always. Mr. Wilkerson, thank you for coming in. Stephen G, Kim, the Hall of Fame Mafia is in the house. We are going to go for about an hour today, folks. Along Mars Jams, thank you too as well. Steve B, make sure I say everybody perfect. Cracker. Lucas James, thanks for coming in. Big 12 Mafia is in here with us. Brian Sandlin, Mike Wilkerson, and Stephen G. Yeah, thanks so much, everybody, for showing up to the stream. Big win for these Sooners today. Coach, what did you see that I know you sent me a message right after it was over with. What was you, and you were impressed, and for not being an Oklahoma fan, it was pretty easy to get that out of you. You said that.
Well, I tell you what, anytime you hand somebody an ass whooping that bad, there's a lot of good things that happen. But yeah. I was really impressed with the intensity throughout the ball game. And I think you even mentioned it earlier. It's easy when you're kicking somebody's ass that bad to lose that intensity in the middle of the game or in the third quarter. They never did lose that intensity. They kept that intensity through the whole entire game.
Yes.
And that's always critical throughout the season, is that you can start and finish a game no matter what happens in between. So I was very impressed with that.
Right. Yeah, and that is what you expect out of it. Just to go through some of the things that I thought were some of the biggest stats that you probably saw were you had 1 3 and out for the Oklahoma offense, this Oklahoma defense for 6 of them. It is the largest margin of victory in an opener in 106 years for Oklahoma.
Wow.
You had first career touchdowns for Tawee Walker, Jaden Gibson, Jackson Arnold, and Caleb Hicks, the latter of those two being freshmen, true freshmen. Between Dylan Gabriel, the starting quarterback, and Jackson Arnold, who was the number 1 dual threat quarterback in the country coming into this season. 30 for 33 completions. That included Jackson Arnold being 10 for 10 in the game. They were 9 of 9 in the red zone with 8 touchdowns and a field goal. I mean, the superlatives really don't stop. I mean, defensively, you saw them flying around, getting to the ball. If there was anything that you probably would rather not see was some of the penalties, then again, you don't really mind some of those penalties if they're hustling and the intensity part of it was there, in my opinion. You're going to see that kind of tighten up. Now, you hope that continues. We saw the first 3 games of last season. They looked pretty good on defense as well. They didn't look like this, but they looked pretty good throughout for those first 3 games, and then it kind of came apart. So you wanted to translate, but you could only play one game at a time, and you can only play who's in front of you. And so to do what you should do against an inferior opponent, that's what you're hoping for. Bomber, did you watch any of that, and what did you think of it?
I just watched the score line. The minute it was like 24-0, it's like, what's the point, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's a big deal that they came up and put a big number out, though, because at the end of the day, they're trying to impress again. And it's not they're trying to impress the Big 12. They're trying to impress the world and then the SEC as an extension. So I picked them to be in the championship game this year. It was a bit of a shocker for a lot of people, but I think Oklahoma's built for good things coming up.
Right. One of the bigger plays of the game to me was this, Gavin Freeman, and they call him the G Freak. This kid, first time he touches the ball as a true freshman last year, walk on, he scores a touchdown on an end around.
The house.
First time he touches the ball his next season, to the house, punt return touchdown, the longest one in some 7 seasons for Oklahoma. This made it 14-0, 70 seconds into the ball game. Huge deal for OU to be able to do that. So again, hats off to him. G Freaky. The guy was just something else, man. And he added another touchdown on a receiving touchdown. He didn't have a ton of catches in the game. It got spread around quite a bit. I think one of the things that, if you're a Sooner fan and you've been concerned with some of the stuff that in that receiving core, you saw Andrell Anthony come through. You saw you also saw Jaden Gibson get a big touchdown catch, and he had to kind of take that one away from the defender there in the end zone. So that was huge too. This is a guy that's been dropping footballs for 2 years. So, at 6'10", or 6'6", I'm sorry, and with speed like that, it's a guy that you're really hoping is going to come through there. He did today. Again, another huge deal for that. But more importantly than this offensive effort was the way that this defense flew around, though. They only gave up a little over 100 yards in the game, period. And against a quarterback who was a 6-year senior, he's played at Power 5, Tennessee. He's been around the country. Colorado he was at last season. So this is not, it's not a guy that was brand new to the game. But you could tell that very early in that second quarter that those receivers didn't want any part of that secondary. They were getting popped And so those are the kind of things that you want to see in the, unlike the school that we saw last week, USC and Lincoln Riley, they didn't give up 200 rushing yards and 28 points to an opponent that uses 4 initials in their name.
Which Jason, let me just add to that, since you switched over a little bit to my boy Lincoln Riley there. They cheated last week. That they used an ineligible player.
Did they now? You did say something about that earlier. I never had looked into it. So who was it?
They had a kid. I can't remember if he transferred over from Arizona or Arizona State, but I think it was Arizona State. But I think he was ejected from his last football game, and so he had to sit out the first half this season, and obviously he didn't do that.
So is it a forfeit coming? Or
I don't know. I don't know. I'd like to see what the consequences are going to be for that.
Huh.
There's not going to be any. I mean, we're talking about USC. There's no way.
Listen.
Yeah. I don't think so.
I'm doubting it too. But what
it would
we
be
saw,
great.
And of course, Nevada today, they are putting it on Nevada now. And good for them. But Nevada went 2-8 a year ago in the Mountain West. Certainly not the best.
Nevada and UNM could have a hell of a football game.
They might.
Right.
Yeah, they might. That might be the one school in the Mountain West that isn't as good as UNM. But I don't know that that's the case either. So, right. Thank you, Lori, for coming in. Nice to see you as well. Cowpoke Ranch, I do not disagree with you here. This is can't say that I didn't see some issues coming along the lines, but OSU, this is their first game. We're going to find out who they are and what they're about pretty soon, but I don't think you can really judge off of it today, other than they should be blowing them out. You would hope that they do what OU did to their, to an inferior opponent. They are struggling. I see that. Yeah, Coach, what are you eating there? Lori wants to know. Yeah,
sorry guys. I'm having
Anthony,
some pistachios.
There you go.
Good stuff. So let's talk just a little bit about the other big surprise, the big surprise of the day. You had 21-point underdog Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes go into Fort Worth and go toe-to-toe, blow for blow with TCU and show that they were indeed the real deal, unlike what a lot of people were thinking.
Right.
I know a lot of people, I know for sure that Coach and I did not expect them to be a bad football team or 3-win football team, whatever a lot of people were saying, when you've got a quarterback like that. He finished today, 37 of 48 or something like that. 510 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. This was, these guys were the real deal, man. And Sanders. 4th and 2. Hold on real quick. Let me get rid of this thing so I can turn the sound off when I do that. It was like that all day whenever they got into serious, on 4th down. And when he needed to make a throw, he made it. Travis Hunter proved that he is the guy that everybody thought he was, as the number 1 recruit in the country a year ago before going to Jackson State. He played 110 freaking snaps.
Yep.
Had an interception and a touchdown and a number of catches. I think that they put the Pac-12 on notice. Did they not there, Bonner?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, not only that, but there were a bunch of drops. He had 2 that were down the right sideline that should have been caught, and they would have been another 40, 50-yard. The kid is incredible. He can run, but I think Joe Klatt said it right on his call. He said he's smart. He does the right thing and makes the right choice. I didn't see one throw that shouldn't have been thrown. I didn't see anything that said he didn't know where the ball was going to end up. So as long as the rest of his team comes with him, this team can go a long way.
Yeah, 9 incomplete passes. Yeah, so it was 40. Yeah, unbelievable, right? It's just look.
He threw for 510 yards.
Hank,
that's ridiculous.
This is exactly one of the first things I thought. They have them in week 5 and they're on the road at Colorado. If you think that this is going to be a walkover for the Trojans, it's not, because they did show today that if you make a mistake with Travis Hunter, he's going to pick you off. So if they can make a couple of stops, you don't have to be great on defense to beat USC. You have to be okay. You know, you make a couple of stops here and there, and you can put up numbers like what they do, because you probably will, because they can't stop anybody. Everybody thinks they're just going to walk over this Pac-12 conference this season. This is why I said they're going to go 8-4, and I'm not sure that they do that at this point.
They had 68. I want to make sure I get this right. 68 new players from last year's squad. They turned over half their team, and in one season. It's not like they've had 3 seasons to build up to this success. Yes. So it is absolutely incredible. I discounted them. I'm the first one to admit I did not have them winning 4 or 5 games this year. So
I'm going to tell you something, my brother. A lot of people discounted them. A lot of people were talking shit. And let's just be honest. Let's get to the point here. People were talking shit about Colorado, and today that stopped.
Right.
And I'm telling you, people, just because Primetime didn't do it the way the rest of the coaches do it, the traditional way, everybody was pissed off at him, including almost every college football coach.
Oh, yeah. He's
upset. You know what? You guys can bend over, and I'll bend over, and you can kiss my ass, because I'm telling you, Colorado is for real.
They are for real. Look, I'll be the first to say that I've kind of waffled back and forth whether I thought they're going to win 7-8 games or whether it's down to like 5 or 6. I've never been the guy was going to sit here and tell you that I thought they won 3, because you can look at Shedeur Sanders, and in college football, as I said, when you can run the ball and you can throw it, and he could definitely throw it, that tells you that he gives you another dimension. It's very similar. I'm not calling him Caleb Williams, but it's very similar to Caleb Williams in the fact that you can do some of these things and do. Look, Cracker, you don't get to do that shit whenever they were freaking 21-point underdogs, bro. You don't get to do that one. Maybe TCU really, really sucks. That's bullshit, because you know better. You know better. They didn't even play bad. And what I'll tell you is that you can't talk shit after the fact like that. You can't do it, because they were, that you're one of the ones discounting them. If you were, that's fine. I'm not calling anybody out in this stream that has been, but don't say that TCU's that terrible. Don't say it. Don't say it, because that we both know that even though they lost a lot of players, listen, we can talk about it after week 5. But I'll tell you, you don't think that they're going to go into week 4 undefeated for sure? They're not going to beat Nebraska next week. They're not going to
put a hurt on Nebraska.
They're going to beat the brakes off Nebraska, and they're going to beat the brakes off of Colorado State too.
Yes, they will. Yeah.
Look, they're legitimate, and that quarterback is legitimate. And all I'm telling you is I'm not saying they're going to win 11 games. I'm still not telling you that they're going to win 11 games, because I don't think that they're going to. What I am going to tell you is that they're not. They just scared a lot of folks in the Pac-12. If you don't think that,
I'm going to tell you one thing. They've already tied their friggin' record from last season.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's talk. Let's get real here. Who thinks Prime isn't coaching in Florida next year?
I don't think it's next year.
I think Florida Napier could get run this year. That Florida team is really bad.
Here's what I'm going to tell you about Coach Prime is that he is not one of these guys that is not having any kind of loyalty. They gave him his shot. Hey, look, and you got to understand that he is going to he's going to do very well in recruiting in the Big 12. He's from Dallas. He's been living in Dallas for freaking 30 years.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And
I'm just saying, I don't see what's stopping him from going to Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, look, he can even write Colorado a check, say thank you for the opportunity. But Florida's SEC. I mean, Florida, had the fifth best
That's possible.
recruiting team going into Utah, and they played horrible. They
didn't have a
Napier
you know
is
what
not
the difference was,
playing
Bono?
them well. What?
One had a quarterback, one doesn't.
Well, but it was a 4-string quarterback. So let's even talk about that. You want to go deep. You really want to dive into that loss.
But Utah's backup quarterbacks aren't as bad as obviously Graham Mertz was, right?
No, of course not. And I'm not devaluing the win that Utah had. That was a fantastic win. I just think Utah Florida is extremely. They didn't play well. Napier is not doing a good job at that school right now. So,
well, guys, I don't know, man. They're like number 2 or 3 in recruiting right now. So I don't know that. And look, at some point, I don't know why Tulane is. Are they number 9? I didn't know that they were that high up the list, to be honest with you, Lori. I don't think that they should be, but you know why? I'll tell you, if that is the case, it's because everybody thinks an awful lot of USC. You've got a lot of national pundits that have them going to the playoff. With a lot more followers than us. Okay. If that's the case, it's because they beat USC and everybody thinks that USC hung the moon. They're going to see that look, if they don't lose at least 3 games, I will be shocked.
And I'm thinking number 24, right?
Yeah, I thought that they were closer to like that. But
who are you talking about?
Tulane's at number 24.
Oh, yeah. I had no idea what they were ranked.
Yeah, they're 24.
Clemson is number 9. Yeah, Clemson's number 9. Yeah. That's where, and I think that they're not. Look, I think that they were badly underrated, right? Anyway, in the end, look, huge game, huge win for them too. And for, as I said, when you come in as a 21-point dog, it's not even just people like us that were discounting them, and I wasn't, but it wasn't even just regular old Joes and guys like us that have these shows that were talking all that shit, people on Twitter or whatever. There was a lot of people that get paid to be, and it's a lot of lazy takes. You've seen things like worst roster in the Power 5, which was bullshit. They have the number one freaking transfer portal class. Well before they got to like that 70 number or whatever. They were there at like 30. Yeah. Which was right around the same that USC had last year. Hey, you can say what you want, and you don't have to like how loud and brash he is and everything else like that. I agree with you on that. What you cannot do is come in here today and say that they're not real, and that quarterback isn't real, or that Travis Hunter's not real, or that running back isn't real. Hey, look, they may not be huge in the trenches, but I don't think you got to be that big in the Pac-12.
Guys, we've been telling you for months that this was going to be the case. And I'm here to tell you, I'm not necessarily a prime time number 1 fan, but I do think he does a good job. And again, I don't think he does it traditionally, but I want to tell you something about Prime that I know. His players always love him. Wherever he goes, they have buy-in to him. And I'm telling you, those players today have buy-in to him, and even more after what happened today. And I'm not saying he's going to go win a national championship. I'm not saying he's going to win 10 or 11 games. I'm just saying he's already proved all the naysayers wrong with today's win.
Yeah, it should take you 2 or 3 years to do anything, right? Yes, I mean, even in the era of the transfer portal. By the way, as Steve B just said here, Baylor is down 28-13 at the half to Texas State.
That's ridiculous.
28-13. Oh, you about to make brisket out of the Longhorns? Yes, sir. And it won't be Lincoln Briley dry ass brisket either.
Let's talk Texas really quick. I don't think Texas looked good. They started off extremely slow, and they looked kind of pedestrian, to be honest. Quint Ewers, I still say he's gone by the fourth game. I think they're going to bring in Manning. He's just going to.
I think
they're going to lose to Alabama, and I just they did not look good.
To Ewers' credit, he was 19-30, 260, and 3 touchdowns. Didn't throw a pick. Malik Murphy went in for 3 of 5. That's the guy you don't want to see. If they play, I don't think that they're going to Manning. By the way, I don't. I think it'd be crazy too. I don't think he's ready whatsoever. He hasn't shown anything at all of being ready. It would surprise me, right? Texas is back. I know, Steven. I'm sorry. You're right.
Back to what?
They're back to the same old crap. They're back to doing what they do. Yeah.
Back to the same old crap.
JT Daniels, that old vagabond, gypsy type. This fourth.
Yeah, where's he at now?
Rice. He plays for Food.
He's a Rice. Okay.
14 to 26, 149 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. He is definitely regressed throughout his time. But again, I know that what was it? It was right before the half. They pulled ahead. It was 7-3 going into the second quarter. You had 3 field goals out of them in the second. Yeah, they didn't look great. They ended up winning 37-10 against a Rice team that even USC blew them out of the water last year.
Right.
So listen, look, not everybody. I don't know that it's that they pulled away. You got to realize that this is a real team, though. You shouldn't struggle with Food. I get it. Okie Light is sucking as well. Who had Iowa scoring more than OSU?
Are they going to lose that game? I haven't seen the score.
No, they're up 13-0 at the half, but that's funny.
Guys, Ohio State didn't exactly set the world on fire today.
No, they didn't either.
23-3. Come on, man.
Yeah.
UTSA and Houston are locked in a battle. That was a game that I really want to keep an eye on there. They had a hell of a game last year. 10-7 Houston at halftime there. Again, 13-0 at the half over Central Arkansas as Oklahoma State. Penn State is locked in a battle with West Virginia. Now there's 1 minute left in the second quarter, still 14-7.
Yeah, Texas they're driving right now. I'm watching that.
Yeah, Texas Tech just got underway with Wyoming on the road. They have the ball. 12 minutes left in the game. We'll be getting to that one as well.
And I think West Virginia is going to end up being better than people think.
How the hell does Iowa State score 30 points when they don't have a quarterback? Maybe that was the best thing to happen to them, like Tim said, huh? Maybe so. Yeah.
All right, Jason, I got to go get food.
Yeah, how's the BYU done?
Here, have some pistachios, brother.
We'll have to find out. I'm keeping my fingers crossed and hoping that we get off to a good start. So
let's get together this week and break them down a little bit and talk a little bit this week during the week if you got time.
Absolutely. You bet.
Thank you for coming.
Good luck, my brother.
You too. You guys have a great night. It's good to see you. Thanks for the invite, Jason. I appreciate it.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, glad you came on.
You
Go
bet.
Cougars.
Go Cougars. Everybody have a great night. Bye-bye.
All right, buddy. Later. All right. Oh, good grief. Okay, now Lori. I love Lori.
Now, what was that?
Here's where DG was: 19 of 22, 308, 2 touchdowns. Jackson Arnold was 11 and 11 for 114 and a touchdown. They were 30 of 33 passing. We don't get to trash on DG. This is no trashing DG zone.
Hey, not even the Heisman Trophy winner to be had that kind of day.
Yeah. Alan Woody, slow down, coach. This was Colorado's first game. Their defense.
Oh, I'm with you.
I still say they'll be lucky to win 5. So everyone who disagrees can kiss my ass. Okay, Alan. We're definitely going to bookmark this one.
So let me ask you, Alan. Is 5 better than 1?
No. Alan, let me ask you this. Do you think there's any way in hell that Nebraska beats them this next week? After what you just saw the other day in that slobber knocker of a game up there in Minnesota? Because I got to tell you, they're going to be fine. Not many deep balls. Look, they ran the football an awful lot too. Let's go into some of the rushing. You had 220 on 50. They ran the ball almost 20 more times than they threw it. Lori. So, he did have. So his what was his long pass? I mean, they hit Andrell Anthony for 45 yards. That was a deep ball. That's a deep ball. Look, there's a lot of time left. I mean, look, and here's the thing: is they passed everything. What would be the biggest thing that I saw myself? Who do I think beats USC? Let me just finish this real thought with Oklahoma real quick. The thing that I saw that I was most happy with is obviously defensively. The way that they brought intensity from start to finish, and I think it all phases. But I also, not many deep balls. How many did you want him to throw? I mean, I don't know. Look, he's only going to throw the balls that the plays that Levy calls, number one. And I think that they wanted to make sure something that everybody complained about last year was how they didn't give the defense time to rest. They had like 3 drives that were over 10 yards or over 10 plays in the game and did that, right? I don't know what.
As a coach, I got to tell you, Jason, as a coach, I'd rather take the ball down methodically down the field and slowly
points.
So slowly matriculate down the field and get points out of every time you have the football. Big plays are great. They're fun. They're fun for the they're fun for the fans. But at the end of the day, from the coaching perspective, you want to move the ball down the field. 73 points, folks. That's a lot of damn points.
First touchdown of the game was what? I mean, it was. Let's see. Yeah, the punt return touchdown. That was the second one. The first one was that touchdown to Drake, which was for just 10 yards on that one. Then you had. Yeah, I mean, look, the third one, I mean, that was a long freaking drive. They had like 15 plays in that one. 13 plays when they went up 21-0. Crap. I mean, that's what you want. And I think, again, they put up 73 freaking points, so I don't really know what else they could have done. In the end, look, I know that we're used to seeing that Lincoln Riley go put it up, but look, where did that get you whenever it got you? We've got to start looking at it as fans in a different light. If you want natties, you can't have it both ways. You either do it like Lincoln or you do it like BV, and you could be explosive, and they were explosive when they needed to be. I mean, shit, they had 14 points 70 seconds into the game. Right? I mean, they had 14 freaking points 70 seconds into the ball game. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Now, do I believe what? Let's see. Yeah, I think we blew them out. Win's a win. If it was 1 or 100, it's a win. But I definitely like the way that they blew this team out. Now, USC, their losses. In fact, let's just go to their schedule. USC schedule. So
yes, they're gonna lose more than 2 games.
Yeah, definitely. I think so too. Okay, so they've got. Look, they should beat the brakes off of Stanford next week. Even though they struggled with them for a while last year. Arizona State, they should win, but they may not. I mean, I think their first loss comes at Colorado, probably, if they're going to lose that one. They should beat Arizona, even though I think that
could be a game.
I mean, that's another possibility, right? It is at home. Then, though, if they haven't lost, if they come into the Notre Dame game, I'm telling you right now, Notre Dame is going to beat the fucking brakes off of USC. They are. They're going to beat the brakes off of them. There's the difference between USC and Notre Dame to me was one is finesse and can't make a freaking tackle and can't cover nobody down the field, and one is going to line up and run over your ass and complete passes. Got a quarterback that makes multiple reads. Look, they started off like they had a little jet lag today, and they still scored 56 points.
Yeah, and we played a lot of second teamers basically the whole fourth quarter.
Bottom line is one team is very, very physical, one ain't, and we know which one isn't. Us OU fans. They're not going to, and then guess what they get for that ass whipping? They get to come home the next week and take another one to Utah. There's 2 losses. Then they go to Cal, they'll win that one. Then they get their ass kicked at home by Washington. Then they go on the road and get their ass kicked by Oregon. That's at least 4.
There's 4 guaranteed almost.
Yeah, that's at least 4. And look, UCLA could beat them. I wouldn't be that damn surprised if either of the Arizona schools beat them. And I certainly wouldn't be surprised if Colorado does. As I said, all you have to do is as Colorado is make a couple of stops. That's it. Yeah, no doubt about this. Malik is way better. Yeah, if they freaking play, sorry, Lori, sorry for the language. If they play Arch Manning over Malik Murphy, Sark needs to have his ass out of there. I mean, but I hope he stays forever. Just so you know. Yeah. Look. Yeah. I mean, at the bare minimum, they lose those ones. But look at Washington, man. And they didn't have to freaking play Washington or Oregon last year, which is why it looked better. I think for sure that they lose at least one of those games, and probably both of them. Look, UCLA lost by 1 point to them. I don't care where it is. It's not like they get a real home field advantage at the Coliseum that nobody does anything there. Seth, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the show. Glad you're here. Quinn Ewers is inconsistent. Yeah, he is. But guess what else? Guess what else? So is Steve Sarkisian. Once his script is over with, you don't know what the hell's going to happen. He's definitely not going to. He hasn't shown that he will.
The thing is, Jason, neither does he know what's going to happen.
Shit, that's the truth, man. That's the truth. Look, and I'll tell you this, Steven G, you're absolutely right. The dude's a transformer. I mean, you've heard Coop talking about him like that before. I think that he's Vince on 2.0. I don't want to see the bastard play. I don't. Yeah. I hope he transfers out because they didn't play him, right? Drake Stoops is draftable. Yeah, look, I think he's going to play in the league. I think that he's that kind of Danny Amendola type of kid that, he's going to get open. He's a gamer. You know what I mean? As far as like physical tools and stuff, let's not be crazy. That's not who Drake is, but he's a gamer, right? And that's what you love about him. Now, he did have that AC sprain. I know he could have come back in the game. He's going to be okay. Deshaun McCullough had that ankle injury that BV said wasn't too severe. So not too crazy not too worried about that one either. A couple of injuries here and there, but nothing to freak out about. Look, I think a couple of weeks ago when I was on Jay's show and we were talking, or maybe it was definitely with Chris and them, but they were asking about what you guys were asking about what you expected in those first few weeks. And I said 50-0 for the first week. And Jay said that he hoped that they didn't score. Nobody scored on them for the first 3 games. I think SMU's probably going to make that a little harder. Tulsa, maybe not. They that coach has worked with them, so I could see what's going on. But here's the deal. If they could get out of this thing under 20 to 30 points in 3 games, that'd be a 10-point average in your non-conference. That's a damn big deal, right? It's a damn big deal. G Freaky is the real deal, right, Seth? Oof. Yeah. What a freaking punt return. And you realize the first time he touched the ball both seasons at Oklahoma, freshman and sophomore year, he goes to the house. He's the real deal. You got to keep him involved, right? You got to keep him involved. I'd like to see them get Jalil a little more involved than they did, but I do think Andrew Anthony is the truth, right? I think that he is the truth. Again, yeah, Bevel was the only serious injury. Yeah. Never underestimate Iowa State. Yeah. No, look, I mean, but it's not like they played a freaking powerhouse today, right, Alan? I mean,
no, but I would agree with you, Alan. Though I mean, never.
Look, they're gonna fucking play defense.
Yeah.
That's what he does. Man, I said that word again.
Hey,
Sorry.
Lori's going to get on you again.
You're going to get my ass. Yeah. Anderson did well. Yeah, look. This is a good game. I mean, again, we can't overreact about the fact that they didn't play Texas today, folks. They didn't play Texas today. So let's not get too crazy. That's really probably going to be your big – I think it's going to be a test to go on the road to Cincinnati just because it's your first road game. It's that far out there, and they get pretty wild there. I'm not a big Scott Satterfield fan. I don't think that they're going to be that great, and I think you should definitely go and win that.
Hey,
But
what
I think
about Oregon?
Real test? The first real test is going to be Oregon. What about them? They are –
What about Oregon hanging 81 points today on Portland State?
Yeah. Well, again,
I mean, that's a lot of points no matter what.
Right.
No matter who you play.
Yep.
That was pretty impressive, I thought.
It was very impressive, right?
Yeah.
In your Twitter, we're gonna have Ty in here. Yeah. So yeah, man. Hey, look. One thing I know is, Dan Lanning is he's gonna have him playing defense too. That's the other thing. You know, when you have Mario Cristobal there, they didn't really do a whole lot of that, right? I would show great improvement. Nebraska and Colorado should come close, 7 points or less. I'll wager against you on that one, Alan. I'll wager against you on that one, buddy. I don't think Matt Rule. Yeah. Here's the thing. You're gonna tell me that that quarterback at Nebraska is anywhere close to Shedeur? Because I'm gonna tell you he's not. But I wagered on it. I'm glad you feel that way. Here we go. Hey, now, Matt, I'm going to tell you like I told Lori a minute ago, this is a no firing at DG zone. You understand? We're not taking no stray bullets in DG's direction here today. We're not doing that. In fact, one of those underthrows, he got an intercept. He got a I don't think it's great overall either. But what it will do is, and you know what I really think? I think that if I have a question about CU's defense, that what I would say about it is that I think that you don't need to be playing Travis Hunter that many plays. I don't think you get to keep him around forever like that, right? And that underthrow, what I was saying, one of those underthrows, he did that on purpose and got an interference call out of it, right?
Right.
You know, so there's a definitely can say that. Yeah, hey, listen, just don't be shooting full of holes, old Dylan Gabriel, man. That's all. I'm just kidding. They were 30 of 33 combined, right? They played under control. And look, this idea, and I got to say this. This is what I'm going to say about the whole deal. And the reason that I take up for this guy ad nauseum, I think a lot of people have this memory that Baker Mayfield never threw a bad ball, and neither did Kyler Murray or Caleb Williams for that matter. They never threw a bad ball, right? We all know that's bullshit. They were great. And I'm not telling you that that's who Dylan is, but I think it's not fair to also to judge him on that standard whenever he had to come in, right? And out of, he's a transfer guy. They lost 2 5-star players in out of the, as far as, but of course Spencer Rattler I think is trash. So I'm not unhappy about Spencer being gone. I think he's a head case, and I think that he'll show that more, right? Impressed with OU's offensive line. Look, absolutely, man.
Hey, Texas State still beating Baylor 28-21, and I think they're driving right now.
Wow.
I've been telling you.
Right. No, again, and I'm just saying, he's not going to play mistake free though. That's no. Here's the thing. I think that if you think about last season, he had to be completely mistake free in order for them to not lose the games that they lost. I agree with you on that. He's never going to be mistake free. And in fact, here's the thing, which again, Baker wasn't mistake free, and neither was Kyler Murray, and neither was Jalen Hurts. I don't know why everybody loves Jalen Hurts so much. I don't think he's that great. I think that Lincoln covered up for a lot of his deficiencies, and I think that the Eagles do the same thing. He can throw a decent deep ball that, and he's got good receivers out there. He had CeeDee Lamb whenever he was at Oklahoma. So, and then Lincoln didn't have him throwing precision passes to the sideline and shit like that at that 15 to 25-yard range that gets picked off. That's a real passer. That's not what Jalen was. Now, Jalen's a great athlete too, right? What I'm saying is none of these guys are perfect, and that means he's not going to be either. What you want from him is to not make stupid mistakes at the wrong time, Matt. I agree with you on that. Yeah. But at what point did he ever take us out of a game? Other than when he got taken out of the game because he got hurt. Oh no. I think that everybody's telling you that he has taken the team, right? DG is the guy. There's no question in anybody's mind in that coaching staff. And I'm not going to be the one to sit here and tell you that I think that that's the case. Now, am I concerned about if BG was to go down again about Jackson coming in? No, I'm not. And I haven't been. Right? I haven't been. So, should be back for USC's butt whipping. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be good. Welcome to the show. Ty Hayes from Around the Table Sports.
Ty, the man with the plan.
Getting set up in here. Got to get some football games on the iPhone. How y'all doing?
Doing great.
Coach, you're a neutral party. He says, did OU take a step forward today?
Yes. And you guys know, I am not an OU fan, but I am honest, and I try to put my coaching cap on when I watch these ball games and these teams, whether I like them, dislike them, or I'm always going to be neutral from a coach's perspective. And that coach's perspective tells me they're better defensively. There's not any doubt that they're better defensively. And if that's all they improved on today, they're a better football team. But it's pretty darned obvious, guys, they're better offensively too, because you don't put 73 points up on the board, especially with the new rule changes, guys, because that clock keeps running. In the past, after it would stop after first downs, it doesn't do that anymore. And I'm trying to remember, is it late in the second quarter and the fourth quarter is when that happens now?
Yes.
I know.
Last two minutes
of the second. Yeah, for sure in the game, but I'm not sure if it happens before half. I'm not sure. But
hey, you want to join us there, Jay?
That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points, boys and girls. So yes, they did get better.
It is.
Well, if I may add into this,
jump in.
Well, I said this earlier. If Oklahoma would have exited that game and won 42-0, like that would have been a great win. Yeah. Yes, it's Arkansas State. That's a team you're supposed to beat and beat handedly. But that's why I said if they would have done it 42-0, that's impressive. They put up how many points? I don't care. I don't care who you're playing. You have got to execute to do that. My biggest question about Oklahoma's offense is who steps up in the wide receiver room. Now, understand the question isn't where's the talent in the wide receiver room. Jason, we talked about this a lot. I liked the talent y'all had there. It's just a natural question, who's going to step up and be the guy? I was so happy Gibson. Like I talked about Andrell Anthony, and I think if you're asking me for biggest takeaways, the fact that game one, he and Dylan Gabriel have that relationship, that's positive. You love that. But Gibson with those big catches, loved it, man. And the Oklahoma defense, you pitched a shutout. They missed some field goals, but even then you executed when you need to. There's still room for growth as expected, still looking for more, but the defense looked like they understood the scheme more. They were playing quicker. The linebackers were playing much quicker, and that's what you wanted to see. If the guys understand what Brent Venables wants of them. And look, they were playing with more confidence. Can't wait to see next week against SMU because SMU is fun. SMU is fun.
Right. No, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of fun in that one. If they can shut them down, even similarly to what they did this week, you got to say that it was a big deal, right? The team Bama played an 8-win team. UT played a bowl eligible team with JT Daniels, who was perfect for that offense. Yeah.
No, I don't disagree. Look, Texas did what they needed to do. I think Middle Tennessee is coming off of a bowl win.
They struggled a little more than you would have thought they would have probably, but
they turned it on, right?
They did. I just said that I thought Quinn was fine.
Well, here's the one thing I think if you are a Texas fan, I said this in my show, if you are going to struggle, and I know this is going to sound wild, so hear me out. If you were going to struggle, I think it's better that you did so in the first half and then looked alive in the second half, because this is a Texas team where the biggest question we have about Steve Sarkisian is, what are you going to do in the second half? Yep. Well, today it was a bit of the opposite, right? Like, we've almost never questioned how Texas starts. So the fact that after halftime, when there's been such a question, that's when Texas really turned it on offensively and got it going. I'm excited for next week. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm certainly not going to sit in here and tell y'all, because Texas struggled a little bit with Rice, that's not going to be a game next week. That is going to be a game. Get your TV set, record it. It is going to be unbelievable. It's just going to be a ton of fun.
Right. Yeah, I think he is good. They said that it was an AC sprain. He was wanting to go back in the game, according to BV. I think he's going to be fine. Same with Deshaun McCullough. Looks like Bevel got hurt pretty good, but that's the only serious injury that you got out of the game, right? So looks like it's going to be okay. What's up, PG? What's up, PG? You're welcome to pop in here too as well. That one just went in there. Unfair. Yeah, Jay, any of you guys, what's up? What's up? Just listening while cleaning and watching the bowl. Got it. No worries. You guys want to jump in, feel free to. If not, got it. And we're only going to be on for a little bit longer anyway. I'm going to be on Coach I's show here in just a bit. Hey, what
Texas
I would tell
State,
you is you
up 14.
Texas State still up 14. This is craziness. Loving it though. I'll tell you. Coach, you've been right on the money with this. That they're
guys,
right?
it's been coming down the road.
Texas State, they've been building.
Texas State been building, and Baylor's been stinking it up.
True.
Yeah, listen, Baylor's got
Baylor's on. I'm telling you guys, they're on a crash course.
Yeah. I feel like the problem with Baylor, it's like, and we talked about it at Big 12 Media Days, is that he didn't even, adults of supposed to be advanced educations. Now, I wouldn't go too far with some reporters, by the way, but supposedly of advanced educations were struggling to understand his answers to questions at Big 12 Media Days. I have a hard time believing he connects with all those 19-year-olds. Now, I do believe that Dave Aranda is a hell of a defensive coordinator. I think that he puts it together. I think that there's some struggle there, though. And I think that Joey McGuire may have been the best coach on that staff when he was there.
There's no doubt, Jason. There's no doubt. And back to your response on the media days and talking about these media people that are very – there's some very intelligent media people, and I'm not putting myself in that category at all.
Wrong word.
but I'm going to tell you this, guys, and I say this in a whisper because not many people know this about me. I actually have a doctorate degree, and so I see myself as a little bit intelligent, not a lot, but a little bit. And he was blowing my mind with his answers. He made no sense.
Seemed a little weird, and I think that there's a point. Oh crap! Central Arkansas just went on a deep run there too. They're deep in Cowboy territory. At the 6-minute mark here. Yeah, looks like they may be going down to score. Cut that lead in half at 13-0 right now. So yeah, they're moving the ball. That 3-3-5 is working out real good there at Okie State.
You have got to have some dogs if you're going to run a 3-3. I mean, they have got to come down with such violent intent that you dissuade them from running the football. It's not an easy. You have to have the right personnel, but if you don't have the right personnel, we've seen it time and time again, gentlemen. Coach, I don't need to tell you, if you don't have the right personnel for that 3-3-5, they will cut you up like a hot knife through butter.
They're moving at will here.
And dice you.
They're moving at will here, and you're right. Look what happened. Look what happened when TCU tried to put that 3-3-5 up against those mammoths from Georgia in the championship. What happened to them? It was over in the first freaking quarter.
Guys, those three down linemen have got to be manimals. They have got to be big, strong, but you also better throw fast in there.
He fumbled it into the end zone.
And then the linebackers, the physicality they have to play with. The
linebackers have got to be GoDaddies too, because they have got they've got to run. Because the outside linebackers, guys, those are basically what you see as defensive ends in a lot of schemes. And they've got to be able to come up to the line of scrimmage and play the line of scrimmage. They got to be able to play that outside linebacker. So they've got to be great athletes as well. So the 3-3-5. Now I tell you this: if you've got that in the 3-3-5, the 3-3-5 is tougher than hell to go against. If
it's
you're
not
good
a
at it.
defense, I wouldn't call it that. Would you, Coach? I mean, it's definitely a defense that's got a lot of quote unquote defensive backs, but it's usually the best athletes. Again, look. Coach, you guys used to use it when you were you said that when y'all started using it, you didn't give up but like 3 points all season.
We gave up when I started running the 3-3-5, we gave up a touchdown in the first quarter of the first game, and then we didn't get scored on again until it was the second round of the playoffs. We got scored on again. Yeah. And it was, like I said, if you got the right personnel and you know what you're doing with it, it can be an incredible defense.
Yeah, you were talking Butch Jones coaches as well as he recruits. Yeah, I'm not. Hey,
is he talking Butch Jones or is he talking Emmett Jones?
Oh, Emmett Jones.
Coach as well as he can recruit because he's been on a heater on the recruiting trail. We're talking Emmett
Jones. I would agree with you there too.
Yeah.
Either one. Either one.
Either one.
Either one. You're right. Okay. So with Butch Jones, I did catch I heard a funny one about stacking like bricks. That we're just stacking. This talent and whatever he was saying at Tennessee, it was pretty funny. But yes, no, Emmett Jones, look, this dude is a big ad for Oklahoma. And again, there's who on this staff doesn't recruit well. You got Valai, he's out there killing it. Coach Bates, look, I know they hadn't gotten them all yet. But again, and I think Jay's has been right on the money with this when Jay started talking about this. They are trying to recreate Clemson, and why wouldn't you, right? 3rd and goal on the 1 for
1 yard
Central
line.
Arkansas here. Why wouldn't you, right? But what I'm going to tell you is, look, they didn't get a 5-star guy until they'd already won a national championship. They also know how to develop, and the guys that they have brought in, whether they're 5 stars or not, in terms of what 24/7 says or whatever, touchdown Central Arkansas, whether they are or not. Look, I'm going to tell you now. I think Nigel Smith is as good as anybody in the country, and he's not a 5-star. He'll probably move into top 100 status, wouldn't you think, Ty?
I would think so. He's very gifted.
He's
very
unbelievably good, right? And
great,
I think a lot of it is that he doesn't go to a ton of camps to where, that he's paying into the camp stuff. And why did the dude's 6'6", same size as Stoney, explosive. Again, I've said it a bunch of times. He's my favorite kid in the entire country, favorite recruit. Now, other than before anybody freaks out, the most important recruit to Oklahoma was David Stone.
Yeah.
And I think that he is going to bring in a ton of guys with him. I think that he did before he ever committed. I think that you see some good things, right? Yes, G Baby, love him. I think he's going to be great. Yeah, he's going to help a lot.
Can you do me a one kindness? Can you go up to Anthony's comment?
This one?
Yes, saying, do you think it's hypothetically Miami is successful this season with what they're doing, hiring local high school coaches as recruiting analysts? Do you think more programs do it? Anthony, if they have access to the local high school coaching pool that the Florida schools do, I mean, you're talking, I mean, guys, when we look at some of the guys that the Florida schools have nabbed, look at the high schools they're coming from. I mean, huge high schools out there and such a fervent recruiting grounds. If they have the ability to do it, I think they would love to do it, Anthony, but it's all about availability.
Sure. Well, and a lot of guys, I mean, yeah, listen, if you're able to get guys, and let's not be crazy and think that recruiting doesn't happen at the high school level these days, because it does. And it always kind of has. But I mean, I think that's a great question, but you start thinking about Joey McGuire, and by the way, they're up 17-0 at Wyoming. As you see here, Trajan said, Texas State just won't stop. Oh, goody. Let's see some more about this one.
Well, if I may, about Joey McGuire, when I was interning for Dave Campbell's Texas football, they had just hired him. And hearing the guys that worked for the company, the guys that had been there forever, speak so glowingly about Joey McGuire. And then as I got to talk to different high school coaches, I was doing some writing for Dave Campbell's, just helping them out with some small projects. And I got to talk to some coaches. Coaches in the state of Texas love that man. High school coaches.
He was the president of the Coaches Association, which is the most powerful freaking thing in high school football in Texas.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see them nab
for nothing, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, coach
just to be voted onto that board of directors of the Texas High School Coaches Association, because all of the coaches across the state in all the regions vote for coaches to move into those positions.
That's
so right. You have to have a lot of respect from a lot of people to earn your way into that group of that assation.
Most definitely. No, and I go ahead, finish what you were saying, Ty. Though, I mean, what were the things that you heard from some of those guys?
Oh, I mean, you just talk about the high school coaches saying that he was a guy that they would trust, right? And I think in the state of Texas, for people who know how the state operates, that means a lot. If you guys see me looking down, I'm looking at the game. Jalen Milroe just hit another, looks like a 40-yard, huge chunk pass to Jermaine Burton. Should be his third long touchdown of the evening, a pass interference, 48-yarder. I'm so excited, man. Tommy Reese has this offense running the multiple tight ends right now. And Coach, you don't know how happy I am seeing this multiple tight end offense right now at Alabama with the tight end talent they have and with Jalen Milroe running it. I'm so sorry to have gotten off on that. I just looked down and saw a big touchdown. But where I was ultimately going with Joey McGuire,
we both picked Alabama to get to the playoff, and a lot lot aren't. So I'm doesn't surprise me a lot. So
Steven, I'm so sorry you don't love the hat, but it's one of those things, Steven. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but if you're just like a modern I'm a sneakerhead, right? And so like as a sneakerhead, there are certain hats you just kind of have to have. The classic New York hat, like as a style thing, that's just a must, right? It's just a must for me. But what I was ultimately going to say, coaches in the state of Texas will trust Joey McGuire with their players. They will say, hey, make the decision that's best for you, but I can vouch for that man right there. That means something in this state. And if you know, Coach, you're nodding so hard because you know. Right, you know what that means in this state.
No, he's and you hit the nail on the head. He's very respected, and I'm telling you, because Texas high school football is out there on such a big scale and recruited so much that you do want to know who's walking into your door And are you going to be honest with our kids? And Joey Maguire is going to be honest, whether you want to hear it or not. He's going to be honest. But it's also not when Joey's talking to you and saying something negative, it's how he says it too. Right. He can the way he presents it. So it's his communication skills are incredible as well.
You got to think about the fact that when they beat Texas last year and he was talking, nobody even really got that pissed off at him for saying Big 12 comes through Lubbock. And he was screaming. Now he was saying it to his team. Right. But even that didn't piss anybody off. Probably.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, but I mean, but not many. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. No, he's a good guy, guys. He's just a good person. And you know, when you have a truly a good person, you know, things work. Even your enemies don't dislike you.
Right.
Yeah, the way they negative recruit you is a little bit different, right? Like
sir.
They negative recruit things where it's just like, okay, well, okay, yeah, you can say that to the recruit.
They may say things like, "Well, are you sure you want to go to Tech?" You know, Coach McGuire is probably a little bit too nice. You know, things of that nature.
Or maybe like, hey, that room is already very nice. They recruited well. Like that's the type of negative recruiting that you'll see from those. Oh, you know, they loaded up at the wide receiver last year. We think we have a more linear path here, and
you got it, brother.
That's the type of things you'll see, and that's just hilarious to me because it's like you can't even negative recruit the guy.
Exactly.
Van said, Bama fan in here. Jason, who's impressed with what he saw out of OU today.
Yeah, listen, tell me what you thought about him.
Look, like I said earlier, we would have been happy if Oklahoma had won that game 42-0. Sure. Right? You beat a team that you're supposed to beat, but how did you beat them? The offense was in command. Dylan Gabriel absolutely looks more comfortable. And I told you, I think that the thing that I would be the most excited about is that instant connection he had with Anthony on the outside. Anthony's the guy that hasn't been there for a year. So him coming in there, having that instant connection, you got to love it. Tawi Walker is going to be a really fun running back. We already knew the running back room was going to be a strength of this Oklahoma team. Loved seeing the multiple tight ends get involved. I think that was very nice. You have Jackson Arnold as your quarterback too, and he's going to be a very fun player for Oklahoma fans in the very near future. Gabriel was on today. Like I said, looked way more comfortable. Your secondary is, I mean, you got a lot of different guys who are playing capable ball. That's an area where they're still going to continue developing, but that's probably very natural, especially when you look at the secondary that Brent Venables wants to have, the way that he's calling all this around. That's going to take any team, especially one that hasn't had Brent for 3 years, time to develop. All of that is very normal stuff. I think all the way around, if you're an Oklahoma fan, you need to be overwhelmingly happy, acknowledging that, hey, we're going to still learn more next week against SMU, a team that played pretty good football today against Louisiana Tech. And but you have every right to be happy, every right to be excited. And the defense certainly looks like it's taken step forwards. I don't think that's a question. The question is how many step forward. We don't know that yet because we can't know that, but the question of steps forward, that's safe to say yes.
Yes.
You know, and I go back to what I said before. Without what happened last season, and you know, I think you were on the show with me whenever I said this, Ty. In fact, I know you were. You had to break. You had to break. They had to break completely last season in order for you to stop trying to glue the shit back together. You did. It was going to continue to get duct taped together and full of crap, but until this culture is fully immersed in this program, you weren't going to have a lot of difference. What I saw today that was the most impressive to me is they kept their foot on the gas and they kept that intensity for 60 minutes, which you hear every coach say shit like that. You don't always see it, a la, you know, some of these other programs.
Well, kids just lose intensity. I mean, right. You know, when you're kicking somebody's ass that bad, guys, it's just human nature to lose some of that intensity, and it's just the way it is.
Right. Anthony had a question for you back here. And
yes,
I'm
and I got it. It's about the 3-3-5.
Yeah.
How
why
come in the
doesn't it work
NFL?
in the league?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and I tell you what, the 3-3-5 is more used at the high school and collegiate level, because when you get to the NFL, I mean, and I know you have a lot of good players in college too, but when you go to the NFL, you got the cream of the crop. Okay, you got the best.
Every one of them.
And when when you put an offensive line up there and you line up 3 guys against them, you're going to get your ass kicked at the line of scrimmage every play. You can't play with those 4 linebackers back off of the ball. And so you that's why the 3 now. Earlier, somebody asked if the 3-3-5 was a prevent. No, it's not. But in the NFL, that's what they use as a prevent, is more of a 3-3-5 look. But that's the only time.
I think that might be where their question stemmed from as well, seeing 3-3-5 and thinking, okay, well, when I've seen 3 down linemen on the next level, it's prevent. So is that a prevent-based defense? Good question, both of them.
Yes.
Coach, you hit the nail on the head. Yeah. It's because a lot of the times the 3-3-5 is used as a defense when you're trying to out-scheme talent, right? Like you're trying to have your scheme beat talent. Coach hit the nail on the head. Not only in the NFL are you more talented, allowing you to not have to worry about some of the things that the 3-3-5 is trying to make up for, but the opposing offensive line is far too talented to roll out 3 offensive. Can you imagine some of those classic Bears offensive line looking across from them and seeing 3 down linemen? They would lick their chops and laugh.
Exactly.
That'd be great. I would pay to see that.
Yeah.
When we say Oklahoma OU football's back, because honestly, we haven't been OU in a while. We've been a lot of finesse and scheming. No. Yeah. I mean, I think you can say that that unapologetic and what did I say earlier about USC? The difference between them and Notre Dame. One is physical, one is finesse. Plain and simple.
Kool-Aid almost just took a punt to the house.
Oof, Kool-Aid looks good. Kool-Aid looks really good, doesn't he?
Did you see the first play of the game? Terry and Arnold was on that DB like stink on you know what. I mean, just all over him. Hey, it's not my show. I wanted to, be safe. You know how YouTube can be, man. You know how YouTube.
Listen, I'm going to say this real quick. I've got a quick little segment that I wanted to make sure we haven't hit the Norman Cam yet, so I wanted to pop that up for everybody here. The Norman Cam.
It's the Norman Cam. It's the Norman Cam. It's the Norman Cam. It's the Norman Cam.
Norm.
Everybody give some love to my dog, please.
I love it.
Oh man, good stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Look, I know everybody's always screaming for Norm. It's rare that I can get him to stay in the same spot for very long, but so I wanted to make a little one earlier today.
Gentlemen, another long strike from Jalen Milroe, this time a 30-yard strike to a tight end, Amari Niblack. And I have been saying all year, if you want a name for Bama that you need to circle that could have a Amari Niblack at tight end, has got legitimate wide receiver ability. Yeah. He's freaky.
Yeah.
Freaky. Yeah. Go up, because I'm so sorry. Anthony had a question for me.
What do you got?
It was about the negative recruiting that happened with David Stone. And Van, that's going to happen no matter where you're at.
Always.
I can't tell you how often I've heard of how teams negative recruit Bama. Every recruit in the nation has been told that Nick Saban is retiring tomorrow, right? Like that's the norm. Because let's be honest, like Nick Saban is getting up there in age. That's what they're going to do. I'm also a different type of mindset, Anthony. I understand that it's probably not nice, especially when, like you said, Oklahoma didn't have the season they were looking for last year, and you're sitting there watching Brent Venables say what he said about Miami losing to Middle Tennessee State University. And I know a lot of, I know a lot of the national fans have said like, oh, well, Texas beat OU 49-0. Texas is a Power 5 school.
Yeah, no doubt.
Middle Tennessee State University is not, and they ran it up.
I don't think that Mario's such a terrible coach. I think that it's a terrible program right now, and it's going to take some time to get it turned around. I don't think he's as good as Dan Lanning, right? But I mean, the guy's won. He won at Memphis. He won.
He's
at
a
Virginia
hell of a
Tech,
recruiter,
and he won at Oregon. He was winning at Oregon. So, I mean, not everybody goes into the shoe and beats Ohio State. Now, he did lose to Arizona State the next week, but
it's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there.
In the end, I think that there's a lot more wrong than just who's the coach at Miami. They haven't been relevant in 20 years, just kind of like Texas, but not quite as long for Texas. But that's just me being an OU guy saying that.
Here's where I'm excited.
We're going to see what's up with Texas this year. We are.
I'm excited for Miami that they've changed offensive coordinators. I've really beat around the bush on this a lot. I'm not the biggest fan of Gaddis's offensive schemes. I wasn't the biggest fan of him when he went to Michigan, and it wasn't a big fan when he was at Miami. I think that's going to be a net positive moving to a different offensive coordinator, but we'll see. We'll see. The other thing I'll say, Anthony, is I would still give Miami a lot of credit in that David Stone recruiting battle for them to make it as close as they did. I know the family liked Miami. I won't speak for them. I'm not them. And maybe they didn't want Miami.
The city as much as anything else too. Yeah.
It's a beautiful city, right? Like you're on the water. Let's be honest. People go to Miami and love it. It is what it is, right? But at the same time, David Stone had deep connections to OU, and I have been told by multiple people it was nothing to walk into Todd Bates's offense or Brent Venables' offense and see David Stone kicked up in the offense, just chilling. On a random. So for Miami to make that as much of a battle as they did,
it could be a freaking Tuesday.
Yeah, and for Miami to do what they did, I think I would be more impressed with my staff making it as close as they did, as opposed to mad at Brent for winning that battle, because that was an OU battle they needed to win, and they did a good job sewing it up.
Yeah. Look, you needed to win it, no doubt about it. And I've said it as much as I love Nigel Smith. I think he's very important to the class. The most important was Stoney. They needed to get him. He's a hometown kid. He wants to be a Sooner. He wanted to be a Sooner. He was recruiting for OU long before he, committed, I would say. And then you've got guys like Gerald McCoy trying to really make sure, and he's still doing that. He's been taking shots at Missouri fans saying, get ready because we're coming to get him too. That he keeps saying that's not over. Look, if OU does what they should do and wins 10 games, there's no telling what happens. I'm not putting a lot of stock in wearing freaking gloves and shoes and shit like that. I'm not, because that's the same color as their team, by the way. So I'm not going to get crazy there. But I don't think it's over with. The main thing is I think that if you look at the power line as it is, if they just get Nigel, and they've already gotten Jaden Jackson, and of course they've got David Stone. right? And on top of the fact that you still have some guys that are young enough on that line that they believe in. Look, I still believe that Ashton Champ Sanders is going to be a big time player at OU. He's got a huge wingspan. He's not as tall as some of these other guys, but he's a space eater, and he's already moved himself as a freshman into the top 3 at his position. You shouldn't be doing that if you're 6'2", 6'3". These guys know how to identify real talent and to develop it. So, look, expect them to continue to do well. And the better they do this season, I think the better they do in recruiting. We've talked about that a lot too, right? Guys, we don't have a ton of time left. I'm supposed to be over on Coach I's show. I would ask that this Hall of Fame Mafia follows us over there. I know, Ty, you're headed in there too, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm heading from here to there.
Follow us in there, Coach. If you'd like to come along, Coach I said he'd love to have you as well. We'll go in there and talk some ball. So, we're just going to and yes, Danny Okoye, I agree with you, Eric. Pardon me for not even bringing that. That was definitely a miss. I'd love to see them get Danny. And I think that there's a possibility that's going to happen now.
It certainly could. Danny, guys, I'll just say this. Danny has impressed every coaching staff that has seen him. And when I say impressed, that is putting it lightly. Yes. He has blown away coaching staffs. Bama, he camped at Bama, and they said he was hyper impressive. Bama wants him the long way. Texas wants him the long way. But Steven put it up there earlier, Jason, and I think you were saying it. What a better game for him to see.
Yeah, listen. Yeah, man. Hey, and you know what? Here's the way I look. Apparently, and I know that people love to hear this, but the source of all OU fans' PTSD, David Hicks, not very happy at ACM. Not in the top 3 apparently. So here we go. Okay, Coach, I'm gonna send you this. I'm gonna send you this link, folks. We appreciate everybody being in here. We've got a good 80 folks in here. We appreciate everybody showing up. I hope you will follow us over to that stream there. I'm going to actually drop that into our I'm going to drop that into the comments before I run. Let me do that.
I just had an OU fan comment on one of my videos that OU has the #1 scoring offense and he's happy about it, but it's just the way he worded it is so funny. It's such a good comment.
Say it. Let me hear it. Okay. All right. I'm going to drop this in here for you guys real quick. That is the channel that we're headed to now. If you hadn't already hit the like button, please do on your way out. It helps us with that algorithm more than anything else. If you would like to become an official member of the Hall of Fame Mafia, that is our channel membership. You can do that for as low as $2.99 a month. That's less than half the price of a Starbucks coffee. We would appreciate that as well. Every little bit helps for us creators moving forward. Again, look, we're excited about this season coming up. It was a great day today. We didn't talk a ton about coaches Notre Dame Irish. Tuesday, we will be back here. We'll get some more talking about that. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about with Texas Tech. They're looking very good as well.
Estime's a dude.
Arbor Estime is a stud. Forgot.
So is Hartman.
Dude. Hartman, I'm telling you, the question about him was, can he make more than one read? I think it's clear that he can. And again, the thing that I was the most impressed with Notre Dame is they were just, thank you for doing that, Lori, was that they were so much more physical they've been so much more physical than everybody else. So love it. I'm so glad that everybody was in here today. Thank you so much for coming in. We will see you, if not before then, on Tuesday, but head over and check out Fanatic Sports Saturday night snap count. We're all going to be there. We will see you on the next one.